How you guys doing? This is Dave Hughes with MMA Weekly. Of course, my favorite, the GOAT, John Jones, returns this weekend against Cyril Gane. Also on the card, Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso for the 125-pound title. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Jeff Neal. And the debut of Bo Nickel, and he's fighting Jamie Pickett. I'm going to start with that fight there. The Bo Nickel Jamie Pickett fight. Now, we all know Jamie Pickett's a bit of a jobber. Great fighter. He had no ceiling on his potential at one time. I don't really know whatever happened to Jamie Pickett, but I most definitely think Bo Nickel takes this fight to the ground and submits him. I'm going to say first round submission. Now, for those of you who don't know who Bo Nickel is, remember, guys, I am from Pennsylvania. Penn State is my college team. I went to Washington and Jefferson, but I wasn't good enough to play ball at Penn State. So that's the only reason why. My father went there. He was an alumni. Things of this nature. So anyway, that said, Bo Nickel, being a Penn State wrestler, the best wrestling program in the entire country, and he was one of their best wrestlers, and he still trains there. So as far as wrestling goes in MMA, I don't think anyone has the wrestling pedigree that Bo Nickel has. He's gonna take us to the ground, but he does have heavy hands. Here's a fun fact. Bo Nickel's mom is a boxing coach who has 5 fights of her own. I believe she won all 5 of them, if I'm correct, but neither here nor there. She still is a boxing coach. So that would explain Bo Nickel having some stand-up before he should have, I guess, is what we're going at. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Penn State wrestler Bo Nickel taking on Jamie Pickett. We'll see what happens. I've got Bo Nickel by submission first round. Moving on. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Jeff Neal. Now, this Rakhmonov guy, he looks Oriental. He's from Russia. He speaks some weird-ass language. Anyway, neither here nor there. On the video game, anyone play UFC 4, this guy is unfucking stoppable on UFC 4. I found out. I was playing online. I ended up going up against the guy. I took Hamzat against him and could not take the man down. Every punch he landed rocked him. So I was like, oh shit, I'm going to try this guy out on the video game. Now, obviously, DC, who is in charge of the rankings and what he thinks highly of the guy. And I agree with him. This kid has no ceiling. He absolutely is well-rounded in every aspect of the game. But he's taken on Jeff Neal, and Jeff Neal's no slouch. He's no pushover. So I'm going to say that Rakhmonov wins this by second round. We'll say submission, because I don't see him knocking Neal out. But I don't want to speak too soon on that. The kid's got hands. And Jeff Neal's no slouch. That being, you know what I mean, while I do this pick, I don't want Jeff Neal or anyone thinking Jeff Neal is a slouch. Because he is not. Jeff Neal is a beast. He absolutely has what it takes. He could beat Rakhmonov. But I don't see it happening, not now. I hope it does. I mean, I'd like to see Jeff win, but I don't see it happening. This kid's just too well-rounded. So another submission I'm going to go with. Now, we're going to move on to my very favorite female fighter. And honestly, guys, she's one of my very favorite fighters of all time, let alone female, male, whatever. Valentina Shevchenko. Now, her last fight, I can't remember the name of the young lady, I apologize, but she almost beat Valentina. If not, some people had her winning that fight, including one of the judges. She was tested, and she pulled out the victory. And I do believe the young lady should have got a rematch for taking Valentina that far. I mean, Volkanovski pretty much did the exact same thing the young lady did. You know what I mean? She put up a fight against an unstoppable opponent. You know, when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, and that's pretty much the description of the Volkanovski Islam fight. But can Valentina finish Alexa Grasso? No, I don't think. I think this is going to be a decision, unless she gets caught with one of Valentina's kicks. That's about the only way I see this fight going. So I'm going to take Valentina by decision win. I'll even go as far to say 3 rounds to 2, Valentina. Now, the fight I've been waiting for 3 years in the making. The return of the GOAT. Jon Jones is back. I can't get enough of watching this guy. I can't get enough of watching the stuff on him. He said this is the first time in his career he's been dedicated to a camp where he's living the martial arts lifestyle. That said, everybody's kind of picking at him because he doesn't have that Jon Jones slim physique, you know, abs showing. Everybody expected him to come back and look like Francis Ngannou or a fucking bodybuilder. Like he said, this isn't a bodybuilding contest. This is an MMA contest. Here's how I look at this. Because I do believe ring rust is real when it comes to this high of a level of fighting. Now, GSP came back and beat Michael Bisping. Everybody keeps saying that. After a 3.5-4 year layoff, GSP came back and beat Bisping. Okay, and this is no way in any way a disgrace to Bisping, but Bisping fought Gastelum next and got knocked the fuck out. His days were past. Bisping was never a tough opponent. He was just a tough guy. Very beatable champion, very beatable fighter. And I believe in my heart that a peak prime GSP goes through him in the first round, takes him down, pounds him out. So that said, that's a hard one to look at. Dominic Cruz takes many layoffs through his career, and now they're starting to show. The older we get, the harder it is to get back on that horse and be ourselves. Now, was Jon bored at the end of his light heavyweight career? That's the question I'm asking myself here. Was he just bored with fighting guys like Anthony Smith and Dominic Reyes? Because, I mean, Dominic Reyes has been finished like last 3 or 4 fights he's had. He's been knocked the fuck out. So either Jon knocked something loose in that kid, or he just really always wasn't that good, and Jon just fights to the level of the opponent that he's fighting. And will Jon have that creativity? Because now Anthony Smith said it, or actually Dominic Reyes said it pretty well, where he thinks that he was fighting not to lose as opposed to fighting to win. Now, when you're trying to protect an undefeated record, now I understand Jones has a loss on his record, but it is a bullshit loss. Even Dana White tried to get it removed. It was a disqualification for illegal elbows done by a referee who has been fired for being a shit referee. So, that said, Jones has never lost an MMA fight. Okay, he's never been ruled the loser of a fight. He's got 26 wins, I think, and that loss. So you might, and he was dominating the fight. So you might as well say he's 27, 28-0, because they took the win away from him for a picogram of fucking whatever the fuck when he fought DC. So we're talking about a 28-0 fighter. Here's one. Jon Jones has had more title fights than Gane has had MMA fights. So, the big question is, can Jon take him down? Is Jon going to try to take him down? Is Jon going to try and stand up and fight with maybe the most agile heavyweight I've ever seen in any sport? I mean, Cyril goes about 255, 260. And he moves like he's about 170, 185. Like, I'm not going to go to the extent to say he moves like Silva or, any of that. But the man moves nice. He definitely has a hell of a kickboxing base. He's definitely great in the sweet science. But the thing with Gane is he kind of lulls you to sleep with his style. Like, you can't hit him clean. So, I think at this point, Jones is fighting another version of himself. I was more certain when this was supposed to be Jon Jones versus Stipe. I was more certain that Stipe would get beat by Jon than Cyril. Because whoever wins this is fighting Stipe next, is what the rumor is. There's also rumors going around that Cyril Gane's hand is hurt and Jon Jones is recovering from a back injury or something of that nature. So, that said, is Jones going to be able to overcome? I got Jon Jones winning this fight by decision because I watched everything with they had a thing with Anthony Smith, DC, Dominic Reyes, and who the fuck? Oh, Rashad Evans was there. So 4 guys that fought Jon, 4 guys who lost to Jon, and all 4 of them seem to agree that Jon is unparalleled when it comes to evading punches. He gets picked on and fucked with about putting his hands out, like, to stop, whatever, because he gets eye pokes. He isn't really trying to poke somebody in the eye. That's not his goal there. Is he a dirty fighter? Probably. They're all a little bit dirty. They're all going to use what they can. It's no different than Diego Sanchez using the oil checks and shit like that. They're all going to take an advantage if they can, and they're losing and whatever. But I do believe Jon just uses that hand as a feeler. He has an 83 to 85 inch reach. So, when you have such a long reach, Jon uses it better than anyone else. Now, they all said the same thing, that at light heavyweight, Jon didn't have knockout power in his hands. But everything from the waist down, he hit hard with. His knees, his kicks, his oblique kick, everything there. His elbows were even tough. DC said they hurt. It's kind of one of those things where this is the greatest of all time. This is the GOAT. This is why we watch the sport. The person we're watching the sport for is to see, the youngest champion ever. Every sport has their GOAT. Boxing has Ali, Tyson, guys like that. Basketball has Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. Football has, that hurts, Tom Brady, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Barry Sanders. Baseball has the Babe Ruth, the Albert Pujols, the guys like that. Nolan Ryan. Fighting has Jon Jones, GSP, Anderson Silva. Now, these are names that are going to be talked about on the Babe Ruth, Jordan caliber. That said, John, it's one of those things for legacy. John wins this fight and he cements it. And you can see he is feeling the pressure, but John's one of those guys that thrive when it comes to this pressure. John's one of these guys that this is what gets them going. This is what makes them go. You know, he gets hit in the face and fights for a living, and people wonder why he acts like a fool. Well, you got to be a little crazy to get in there. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, God bless all these guys. I wish them nothing but the best, and I hope everybody makes it through this weekend intact, healthy, and we get a good show, and everyone's happy. Pay-per-views go through the roof so that these men get paid. The lower parts of the card, God bless them. I hope they all get bonuses. This is something I pray for, that these men that entertain us, these men that there's thousands of channels like mine that talk about them, and you know what I mean, they get that Jordan-esque when they walk into a room, but they don't got that Jordan-esque money. You know, Jones is well off, but he's no way, shape, or form stinking rich. I mean, Michael Jordan was filthy, stinking rich by the end of his career. Mike Tyson could have been filthy rich. Mayweather, rich. Conor, rich. These guys are absolutely should be paid accordingly, but some of them aren't. You know, and that's what John was going for. He's the greatest of all time. He should have been paid as the greatest of all time. Selling pay-per-views isn't an easy thing nowadays, especially when you can stream for free if you look hard enough. But that said, all my best to the fighters this weekend. So that's Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm taken by second round submission over Jeff Neal. Valentina Shevchenko, I'm taking her over Alexa Grasso by decision. John Jones over Cyril Gahn. I'm taking that by decision as well. If the fight is a TKO, then that means Jones lost, in my opinion. But I'm going to throw in the bonus pick on Bo Nichols versus Jamie Pickett. Bo Nichols, first round submission. So as always, guys, God bless. Stay safe. Till next time.